Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode. Have a cup of tea. I'm your host, Kat, and welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to finally be here, finally have this thing up, and excited to bring to you guys stuff that I find interesting in pop culture, news, anything like that. So grab yourself a cup of tea or anything you would like to drink, and we'll get started. Alright, so the first story we're going to talk about is Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt. So, both women have finally had their time in court where they both pled guilty to the charges against them. Here's a little bit of a background for those of you who don't know who I'm talking about. Ruby Franke used to have a YouTube channel called 8 Passengers, which is now currently down, and she shared the channel with her husband, Kevin Franke. And both of them used the channel to kind of show their lives as well as the children's lives, as a family vlog channel does, which is so not controversial with YouTube, am I right? You know, it's going on a little bit of a rant here about that. Child actors have certain type of rules and guidelines and laws for them, where they can actually have money put aside for them to, or should have money put aside for them for when they're 18, as well as they have specific laws, like they can't act over a certain amount of hours. They have to have certain things done for them if you're going to have a child actor. Well, it's not really the same for family vlogs. So basically, those kids are acting in front of a camera, and it's a family. So, like, it's really, really weird when you think about it like that. Because, like, technically they are actors. Also, they can't consent. Like, they're the kids. They're children. Children can't consent to that. So, like, why? Okay, anyway, that's besides the point. So, basically, people were concerned about 8 Passengers, mainly because, well, what Ruby and Kevin were talking about on their channel with their kids was a little concerning. And how they were behaving towards their kids was also a little concerning. So, of course, viewers were voicing their concerns. But, unfortunately, not much took place. Well, Ruby Franke eventually moved on from 8 Passengers and joining Jodi Hildebrandt on a YouTube channel called Connections. Basically, the company Connections and the channel Connections is designed to help parents with parenting stuff, give them tips, tricks, give advice, all for parents who are struggling raising their kids. Well, if people were concerned about 8 Passengers, they were even more concerned about Connections. It seemed like Ruby and Jodi were not having the children's best interest in heart. And the fact that parents were turning to them for advice and listening to their advice, and their advice actually, it seemed like it was actually going to be more detrimental to children, it was a little bit concerning. So, Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt were actually arrested on August 30th, 2023 for 6 counts of second-degree felony child abuse charges. Second-degree felony aggravated child abuse charges. Basically what happened was her 12-year-old son, who the paperwork all label him as RF, so we're just going to call him RF, managed to escape from Jodi's home and go to a neighbor's house asking for food and water. The neighbor called the police, especially when they saw the duct tape on his wrists and ankles, and seeing that he seemed to be hurt. Police come, they talk to the child, and they also go to Jodi's house and talk to his sister. Both of the children were taken away and taken, I believe, in an ambulance to the hospital to evaluate, because they both looked like they were, malnourished. They both looked like they were dehydrated. They needed help. On that day, both Ruby and Jodi were arrested after investigation. Ruby and Jodi are now in jail. And there's literally been no word about any court date since August. So Ruby Franke pled first, or at least her court date was first, December 18th. while Hildebrandt had her court date, I believe, December 27th. Ruby Franke's court date ended up being first, and she did waive her rights to the preliminary hearing, saying that she pled guilty. And on Jodi's court date, she did the exact same thing. She waived her rights for preliminary hearing and pled guilty. Both Ruby and Jodi pled guilty to 4 counts of aggravated child abuse, which are the second-degree felony charges. And the charges are going to be ran consecutively. The definition is this. It basically means that the sentences are going to run one after another. For an example, if you have 4 counts here and you get charged 1 year in prison for each count, that means you'll be in prison for 4 years. So Ruby and Jodi's charges could have them sentenced from 1 year up to 15 years for each charge. So essentially, they could be sentenced for 4 years to up to 60 years, since they've been charged with 4 different counts. Both of their pleas, they state that they agree with the factual basis of the case, meaning that they agree with the evidence that was held against them in court. I watched Jodi's guilty hearing, and her attorney makes a little bit of a snide remark when asked if they agree with the terms. And her attorney says that they don't agree with some of the details of the factual basis, but they do agree with the majority of it. If you're pleading guilty and you're agreeing to most of the factual basis, and you're like, well, I don't agree with some of the details in there. Like, dude, I don't know how court works. I'm not a lawyer. Maybe that's typical. Maybe that's something to help her, like, PR-wise or something like that. But, I don't know. To me, it sounded a little bit snide. I don't know how I felt about that. But both Ruby and Jodi basically had the same plea. There was one difference. The difference was Ruby said that she would testify against Jodi. And the deal included that if she were to testify against her co-defendant, the prosecutors, when it became time for Ruby to have her parole hearing, they would remain neutral. They wouldn't fight it. They would not have anything to say about it, give or take. They would just, let it happen and, like, watch parole and let a parole board to do their thing. Because they both pled guilty, that's kind of a wash now because, well, she didn't have to plea in court. She didn't have to testify in court to, against Jodi. So they both had PR statements because or at least Jodi's lawyer finally had a PR statement to say. And in the past, Ruby and Kevin Franke, they made their PR statements stating that Jodi was actually the mastermind behind everything, and that Ruby was led astray. Which, like most of the internet, I have my own opinions about that as well. Like, for example, people were concerned about the children when 8 passengers was a thing. Like, as far as we know, Ruby didn't even know Jodi during the time of 8 passengers. So, if people were concerned then, I highly, highly doubt that, Jodi could have, or at least I highly doubt that Jodi was, like, the complete mastermind behind everything. But, I mean, I get it. They're going to throw the co-defendant under the bus to try to save face for their PR. Jodi's lawyer actually made a statement after the guilty plea, and I can't believe he actually said this. Her lawyer said that she wanted to take the plea order in order to protect the children from going through the court process so they can heal physically and mentally. I'm sorry, what? You care now? How the children are doing? You didn't care when you weren't giving them water and when you were duct taping them. But apparently you care right now when, you're going to be sent to prison for a very long time. Yeah, I see how much you care about the children. Give me a break. That is a big, to me, okay, all opinion-based. This is my opinion right now, obviously. Why? How could you say that? Look at the charges you are here for. 4 counts of aggravated child abuse. And you thought, it's like, I'm going to take this guilty plea to protect the children and so they can heal and not have to go through the court process. Which, thank you. I think that's the only thing you really did nice in here. I feel so bad for the children. I really do. Like, I hope they are able to heal from this physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I hope that they can find peace. I hope that they can able to grow up with good lives. I hope that they're able to put this eventually behind them. And I just feel so bad for them. No child should ever go through that. I'm not going to specify what they found or what they have said that they went through, at least on court documents. It's all in court documents. It's all over the media. I'm not going to state it here because it's really triggering and it's pretty bad. Like, it's horrendous. Like, there is no reason any child should go through that. I will say this. The reasons why they were put through that was because Jodi and Ruby basically convinced them that it was acts of love and said that they were evil and they needed to do this in order to have them forgive for their evil ways and, you know, what's wrong with them. And those kids were made to believe that they were evil. That's insane to me, at least. Like, and I'm hearing her lawyer say she's doing this so she could protect the children. The children will have to go through the court process, so they'll be able to heal from everything that's happened. You made them believe that they were evil. I'm sorry. The evil one's in the white and black stripes right now. Give me a break. The sentencing for both of them is going to take place February 20th, 2024, so next month at the time of recording. And we'll find out exactly how long they're going to be in prison for, because in the guilty pleas, they didn't give a suggested sentence. So I have no idea how long they're going to be in prison. I will say, I am glad that the children don't have to go through the court process and literally have to testify to every account of abuse they have undergone from Jodi and Ruby. So another topic I want to talk about is the Twitch attire policy. Oh boy. So Twitch has been having an issue with clothing, or rather lack there was, with some of their streamers for the last few weeks now. Basically, there was a few Twitch streams on Twitch where women were highlighting some of their assets, pretty much basically going on topless or implying that they were topless, and they would do certain actions on live to, you know, make it appealing to certain people. So Twitch put out an update stating that they were going to update their policies to around the sexual content to kind of make it more either updated or to clarify, as well as they're going to update their home screen kind of policy as well. Basically, to summarize the policy, it was going to allow the following things with a label. So basically, content highlighting breasts, buttocks, and the pelvic region was going to be allowed. Fictional characters, either drawn, animated, sculpted, whatever, would be fully exposed female presenting breasts and or genitals or buttocks regardless of gender. Body writing on a female presenting breasts and or buttocks regardless of gender. And exotic dances that involves derobing or derobing gestures such as striptease, twerking, grinding, any of those types of dances. Basically, all four of those would be allowed as long as you put the label saying that this was sexual content. You must put the label on, and the label would basically show Twitch that, hey, this is 18 plus content, and when it's 18 plus content, it's not going to be shown on the homepage. Well, when you give people an inch, they're going to take a mile. And they went miles. They went from, LA to New York. It was it was a lot. They were putting, censor bars on them. They were being undressed with censor bars. They were having VTubers completely clothesless. It was insane. Well, anyway, that came all to an end on January 3rd, 2024, where Twitch updated their attire policy. And I have it pulled up, so I'm going to read to you right now from it. According to Twitch, they say, quote, "This update is in response to a recent meta on Twitch, which streamers are using black sensor bars or other items to block their bodies or clothing, or position a camera frame such as that the viewer is led to believe that the streamer is fully or partly nude. While most streamers have labeled this content appropriately with the sexual themes label and are wearing clothes behind the object or outside the camera frame, for most users, the thumbnail of this content can be disruptive to their experience on Twitch. So, basically, it's not displayed on the homepage, and this update goes in effect on the 3rd, so it's already updated. This is what Twitch wants their streamers to do. For the areas of the body where coverage is required, the coverage must be fully opaque. Sheer or partially see-through clothing does not constitute as coverage. Note also that streamers must appropriately categorize their content. For example, streamers that are using the Attire exception that is granted when streaming near a pool or hot tub are expected to use the pools, hot tub, and beaches category when classifying this content. While at times we simply reclassified the streams into appropriate categories, repeat failure to appropriately classify a stream will lead to enforcement action. And then they talk about their policies or whatever. So now when they say the updated Attire policy now reads new language in bold. The new language is, nor do we permit streamers to imply or suggest that they are fully or partially nude, including but not limited to covering breasts or genitals with objects or sensor bars. We do not permit the outline of genitals even when coverage. Broadcasting nude or partially nude minors is always prohibited. For those who are presenting as women, we ask for you to cover your nipples, not expose underbust. Cleavage is unrestricted as long as the coverage requirements are met and it is clear that the streamer is wearing clothes. For all you streamers, you must cover the area extending from your hips to the bottom of your pelvis and buttocks. Oh, well, that was short-lived, guys. I don't care what people do. I don't care. Like, if you want to show off your breasts, go ahead. I genuinely do not care. But I know why Twitch is doing this. One, minors still have access to Twitch. Now, granted, you can find this stuff on YouTube as well if you do a deep dive into the weird part of YouTube, which I don't know too much about, nor do I ever plan on going there. But also, I know why Twitch is doing this. The biggest reason. It's because Twitch cares about its advertisers. It's not gonna win the people who are streaming and posting stuff like this on their streams, because they're really people who are trying to advertise their OnlyFans, unfortunately. Like, I haven't, at least as far as I've seen, if you know anyone else who actually doesn't do this for their OnlyFans, please let me know. I don't know anything about, so if you know, if I'm wrong, and you know people who don't actually have an OnlyFans that do this, please let me know. But generally, the people who are doing this have OnlyFans and are trying to advertise for their OnlyFans. And I think Twitch is just trying to contain them. And now the beaches, hot tubs, and pools category, that got put into the 18 plus category. So it's kind of like reserved for that little area of Twitch. It's just, it's kind of insane that now we have to talk about clothing and being literally told you have to wear clothes on a live stream is just funny to me. Like, I feel like I'm partly back in school where it's like, okay, here's the dress code. It's insane. And I'm not saying, like, they're wrong about doing this. I know that, their first update backfired on them horrendously. So this is them trying to be like, oops, sorry, advertisers. No, we don't actually promote this. So it's just funny to me. So yeah, I can't wait to see how people push the bar next time. Because this is always something this is always happening on Twitch. They push it. They go to a whole new route. They kick that out or ban it. And then they push it and push it and push it to another route. It's always going to be a new route. So, good job, Twitch. Good job. Couldn't end 2023 without this, could ya? And it got carried into 2024. Another story I want to talk about is, it is 2024, so certain things come out in the beginning of the year, including, public domain. Yep, finally, it's the year that Disney has been dreading. Steamboat Willie and Mickey Mouse are finally public domain. That is insane to me. I can't imagine Disney's happy about that. Because they've been fighting this since 1970s. We were originally supposed to get the original Mickey Mouse and Steamboat Willie in 1970s. However, in 1976, lawmakers actually agreed with Disney and changed the laws to allow the owners to keep the copyright protection of the during the creator's life, plus an additional 50 years afterwards. Well, in 1998, Disney again managed to extend copyright laws and had it be the life of the creator plus 70 years for a maximum of 95 years. So it could be a maximum of 95 years. We don't get, plus the person's life. I think that means equaling up to 95 years now that I think about it. Yeah, so basically 95 years, we are not allowed to get any, of the creation. It's not going to be public domain. Well, Disney was actually denied to extend it any further and is now free, and now officially, Mickey Mouse is copyright free and open for public use. Now keep in mind, this is for the original Mouse. The modern day Mickey Mouse with the big eyes, red pants, the one that everyone knows him as now, that's not public domain. Disney has full copyrights over that. But it's the original black and white Mickey Mouse. With that being said, who remembers that awful horror movie that was created of Winnie the Pooh? Yeah, well, Mickey is getting the same treatment as not one, but two horror movies have been announced as basically when the copyright ended the beginning of this year. So, I can't wait to see those movies. I remember seeing the poster. It was a Mickey Mouse holding what looked like to be a knife on a boat staring at a harbor. It was... You gotta admire the creativity of some people. Let me just say, you gotta admire the creativity. And honestly, it's good. I mean, I'm not gonna say that the movie's gonna be good. The movie's probably gonna be garbage, in my opinion. Straight my opinion. I hope they prove me wrong, but it's probably gonna be bad. But the reason why copyright is so important, or at least for things to be public domain, is because that's how you get creativity at things. That's how you get people to, use things and be creative with it and have new creations. It's kind of like a phoenix, if you think about it. As soon as it dies, something new comes from the ashes. I'm happy that Mickey Mouse is now officially public domain. I'm a little bit terrified what the public's going to do with it. I already know, again, they have the two movies coming out. They have a YouTube video where Mickey is cussing. So that's interesting to hear. So, yeah. And it's not just Mickey Mouse who's free from copyright as well. Tigger is also free from copyright. So guess who's getting a sequel to that movie? Oh, I am terrified what they're going to do with Tigger. Tigger was my favorite, so I'm genuinely horror. The idea of that, the horror movie I love for me. Also, another person who is free from copyright also is Peter Pan. Or at least the original Peter Pan. I can't wait to see what people create, and I'm also terrified to see what people create. To wrap up this episode of the podcast, I wanted to say welcome to 2024, everyone. 2023 was a very interesting year for me. And I'm hoping and going into 2024 with new ideas, with a want to be more active on YouTube and on wanting to be more active on my Twitch. So let me know what you thought about the episode. Let me know if there's anything you would like to see from me in the comments below. I love feedback. This is my first podcast doing it alone. So please be nice. I'm going to try to get my footing, but please let me know what you thought about it. Please like the video. It helps me, of course, promote it, yes. Subscribe to the channel for more episodes. Yeah, I really do appreciate the support, everyone. If you are interested, I have my handles in description, of course. So I'll see you guys next week with another update on the news, and enjoy your cup of tea. Have a good day, everyone.